ばす君は友達の見えたパンツに増根を素人童貞で構わないだけど妹だけにはかなわないう
るせえぞ何大音量で流してやがんだ
関係に触れはしねえが先輩じゃんもう部屋に入るならノックくらいしてくださいよ
俺の部屋
What's going on, my friends? We just got done watching My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me as episode 1, and you know, here's the thing: is having expectations. Let me start by saying this, okay? And I know sometimes I'm all over the place. Also, what's up, guys? I'm Dom. I'm from the Otaku Room. I cover fall anime. I cover seasonal anime, and right now we're covering fall. I review anime week by week, and sometimes I just make one video saying, hey, should I watch it? And I leave that up to you guys, whether it's by views or by comments. And I make big decisions, and we just watch anime all season long, and I hope that you guys are with me. Okay, so here's the deal. It sucks sometimes having expectations for anime that involve properties that I have no skin in the game with. When it comes to My Friend's Little Sister, I had never seen it before. I've never it looks like it derives from a light novel. I didn't read the light novel. But it follows this character, and this guy's name is 𝐜𝐴TiRo, and essentially he is a video game creator, and his uncle has a prolific game company, and his uncle is going to hire him and his friends. Apparently, he makes video games with his best friend and probably his best friend's little sister. It looked like it showed 3 people specifically. So it looked like it showed at the end of the episode, it showed his best friend's little sister, his cousin, and his teacher. So those are gonna be the 3 girl main interests. So he probably makes video games with. Or he probably makes a video game with his best friend's little sister, and his teacher for whatever reason. So the show goes on, and you know, when I say I had expectations going into this one, because I was like, okay, this is going to be a really funny show. It looks like this one is like really out there and bombastic, and really all I got back in return for my excitement was a lot of ecchi. And you know, for me, ecchi isn't everything. Like, I think ecchi is totally fine, and it has a place in anime, and don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it, but I enjoy it when it kind of complements other things. So my thing was, okay, this is gonna be I didn't know it was gonna be ecchi really, but I was like, okay, it's ecchi-ish, and it's a comedy romance. But I counted and I looked, I was at the 14-minute mark, and I had yet to laugh, and then I finished the episode and I didn't laugh. So I spent the whole episode. I personally, and I have a pretty easygoing sense of humor, like it doesn't take much for me to hee hee ha ha. I didn't laugh the whole episode. So I'm like, okay, that's the first notch on the show, is that none of the comedy that was attempting to hit for me. I was like, that's a bad first impression, because this is a comedy romance. And if it's lacking the comedy part, okay, it's got to do other things really good to make up for it. But then it has 𝐜𝐴TiRo and 𝐒𝐻𝐻. So 𝐒𝐻𝐻 is the best friend's little sister who, you know, is obviously really in love with 𝐜𝐴TiRo, but, you know, she's immature. So her way of showing that is through teasing and being playful and running jokes and stuff. And 𝐜𝐴TiRo is our very everyday Japanese dense dude, apparently, who cannot fathom for a moment that 𝐒𝐻𝐻 really likes him, even though it's obvious, like it's painfully obvious. And you know, I was like, oh man, this show's gonna really suck if it just kind of has this theme of him, of this girl throwing herself at him and being unsuccessful, so she makes everything into a joke, and he just continues thinking that she doesn't like him. But then the best friend comes in, and the best friend's name is Azuma, and the best friend says, hey, my sister likes you, that's why she's doing all this stuff. So he literally tells him, this is what it is. And even to us as the viewer, and to him, he's like, nah, that ain't it, fam. It's like he's telling you, like, dude, from an outside perspective, this is what's happening with my sister. So he's like, this is my sister, for one. He wouldn't just tell someone, like, he's like, she likes you, dude. So I know that it's going to have a theme going on all season, that he just doesn't get it. And then it is going to introduce another girl or two into the mix. One being the teacher, which I don't know how it's going to shake out exactly. But then number 3, or I guess number 2 legitimately, and then the teacher can be the third, is Mashiru. And Mashiru is his cousin. And the whole thing is he's going to get hired by his uncle's company if Mashiru is going to go to his school. And if he pretends to be her boyfriend to kind of guard her against boys, that's the deal for him being hired. Weird, but okay. And my biggest thing was like, he seems to be like a stranger outside of, they played together when they were like 5 or something like that. But he seems to be estranged to his cousin. And I'm like, that's weird. I get it. Maybe family really isn't that close and stuff, but like, how do you not know your cousin? This seems to be present day. So it's like, okay, we live in an age of social media and stuff. It's like, okay, I'm not that close to my cousins anymore. But when I was like a young kid, my cousins who were close to my age, up or down, we were relatively close, or we at least knew of each other's existence and stuff. And, as social media became present, that became even more so. So it's like, how does he not know his cousin at all? It seems like they played a little bit when they were like 4 or 5, and then they just, I guess, became strangers for whatever reason. It's like, okay, well, maybe his parents died. Maybe there's something crazy there. But it's just weird. And then on top of everything else, it's like, oh, well, now he has to pretend to date his cousin. And he's being warned by his uncle, like, oh, but no funny business. It's like, that's your cousin, dude. So that's the other part of it, too. It's like, I get it. In Japan, you definitely cannot marry or cannot have relationships with like your sibling or your parent or grandparent or whatever like that. And cousins is a gray area still, but it's still taboo. So, and I get it. Don't use reality for fiction. I definitely want to make that distinction. But I just think it's a weird plot line for him to have a potential romantic relationship with his cousin at all. And like, okay, I can, and again, to be clear, I can overlook all of that if I was laughing in my chair. Like if this was just like, like I'm just dying. If this was really funny, I can excuse all of those things that I'm griping about. But it wasn't funny. So I'm a little worried for the rest of the season. One, I'm not really into the story of him being blackmailed into getting a job where it seems like he made a game that's pretty successful. He could probably get a job from somewhere else. Obviously he's a kid, but like he could probably get funding some other way. We live in an age of YouTube and Patreons and GoFundMe's and there's indie sites, Indiegogo sites and stuff where you can literally get your games funded, So if you made something that people like, it's not that difficult. But again, it's fiction and this is a part of the story. So I'm not really digging the whole his uncle stuff and being blackmailed. I'm not digging the fact that he's being told black and white, this girl likes you. He's going, it's impossible. There's no way. I don't like that's going to end up being a trope probably for the whole season. And there's probably going to be like a lot of moments, especially now another girl is in the mix that is going to be vying for his love as faking a relationship. This Iroha girl is probably going to try even harder to like, she's probably going to throw herself at him even more. He's probably going to continue to be like, oh no, like she doesn't mean it that way. She just wants to tease me. And I just can't deal with that. And then the Mashiru stuff, like I could probably get on board with it. She's kind of a blank slate right now. Again, if it ends up being funny, I can overlook the fact that it's like cousin love. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This was just one man that I'm so disappointed in. Like, I was really, really looking forward to it. Like, man, this is going to be like, I was hyped. I got a snack. I got my coffee. I was like, oh, let's watch it. And then it just sucked. And I was so disappointed. It just wasn't funny. Oh, man. All right. I'm going to leave you guys on those thoughts. This was a 6 out of 10. This is the second 6 out of 10 I've watched this weekend so far. So really disappointed in this one. I was really looking forward to this one. I thought this one was going to be really funny, and it just didn't nail the landing. Again, for me personally, if you feel different, let me know in the comments down below. And depending how this video does and your comments, I may or may not be back for next week. We'll see on how that shakes out. All right, friends. Peace.